Let's get into the advisory now, discussing considerations to make when comparing super funds. And Kelly Kennedy, Wealth Advisor and Director at BDO, joins me now. So Kelly, great to have you back in the studio. And what are some of these considerations that we should make?
Good to be back. Thank you for having me. There's a number of considerations. So if we rattle off a couple of the really top priorities, number one would be check your insurance. A lot of people don't realise they have insurance in their superannuation account, and it doesn't automatically go with you if you transfer your funds to another super provider. And so that's things like your life insurance, your death, total and permanent disability, and your income protection. That's in your super fund. Number one. Fees and features. So looking at the fees that you're paying for your super fund, but then maybe some of that is for features that you may or may not be using. They could be important to you. Maybe the fund is giving out webinars for free that you can attend to learn more about strategies to use your super better. If that stuff's important to you, or maybe if you're paying for a certain, a much bigger list of investment options. If you don't need that, you could be paying for things you don't need. Performance. So performance is important. So your 1, 3 and 5 year past performance, but that is not going to guarantee future performance. So just be mindful of that. But it's also really important to compare apples for apples. So when you're comparing performance, look at the same level of risk and for the same time frame.
So I suppose some people might think that these things might not make a difference, but how big of a difference can they make? And what have you seen when, clients have compared super funds?
Oh, absolutely. So we've seen clients who maybe have insurance in place, maybe they've got 3 or 4 accounts that they didn't realise they had open. One of them has insurance in it. So either if they're in a claim position, they've actually got something they can claim, they didn't think they could. Maybe their balance, maybe they don't need the insurance and it's eroding their balance over time. So it can make a really big difference in that regard, just saving fees. And then also just making sure when you're looking at your fund and looking at your investments, making sure you're in the right risk tolerance or investment choice that relates to your risk tolerance. We had a client who had $1 million in super and it was majority invested in cash, and they didn't realise. That's going to have a very long impact, a very big impact over the longer term.
So features and services that are available, is that also something to consider?
Yeah, I think it's looking at what's important to you. Do you want the full range of investment options that are out there? So some people want to have a lot of control over their investments, and some of the super fund providers, they'll have a bigger fee because they're able to give you a much bigger, broader list and give you that control. But if you're happy with a premixed diversified investment option, maybe you're just happy to go with a fund that's low frills and low fees.
And estate planning, this is something that people should always also be checking, you mentioned.
Yes, absolutely. So superannuation, when you die, you need to tell the super fund in advance what you want to happen with your super, because it doesn't form part of your will. And there are certain rules as to who you can leave it to. So you can't be leaving it to your sister or your uncle or things like that unless they're a dependent. So if you want someone like that to receive it, you need to say, I'm leaving my super to my estate, and then it goes and gets dealt with as part of your will. So I guess aside from that, you also need to make sure you have a will.